Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. The second I stepped through the front door, I knew something was off. The music was too loud, the lights too perfect, and the smell of catered food hit me before I even saw the kitchen. I stood frozen, clutching the little box I had wrapped for myself, thinking maybe, just maybe, they went all out for my 30th birthday. Then I saw the banner. Congrats, Tessa! My heart dropped so fast I actually felt dizzy. Balloons, streamers, a big ass cake, the works, all for my cousin Tessa. Not me, not my birthday. And then, like she'd rehearsed the entrance, Tessa walked in through the back sliding doors dressed like she was headed to the Oscars. Blowout hair, bodycon dress, fake eyelashes waving at everyone. The room burst into applause. I just stood there, holding the box. It was a bracelet I bought for myself and asked Uncle Ray to pretend it was from them, so I wouldn't feel like an afterthought. Before we get into the rest of this, quick note, before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? I made my way to the kitchen, jaw tight, and found Aunt Jill fussing over finger foods. I leaned in and asked quietly, "Did you know this is my birthday?" Her eyes darted to the floor. We figured we could celebrate both. You hate big fusses, right? Tessa appeared beside me like a shadow, all fake sweetness. We can totally share the party. Oh, and we used your old credit card for the cake. Hope that's okay. It was just easier. My stomach dropped again. My old card? The one I hadn't touched in months? I stepped away from both of them and opened my banking app. The charges slapped me across the face. Over $1,500. Venue deposit, catering, cake, floral arrangements. They used my money for her party and didn't say a damn word. No one even noticed I was gone when I walked out. Not a single person followed me. I tossed the bracelet box into the backseat of my car and started the engine with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Happy birthday to me. I drove for 20 minutes before I even knew where I was going. Just needed to move, needed air. My hands were still clenched around the steering wheel when my brain started pulling old files. Like my body knew this wasn't new. Just the latest chapter. First time I remember knowing Tessa could do no wrong. I was 8, she was 7. Uncle Ray had left cash in the junk drawer for lawn guys. $60, gone one afternoon. Aunt Jill lined us up in the kitchen like we were suspects on TV. I didn't take it, I said. My voice didn't even shake. Tessa sniffled and said, she was in the drawer yesterday. I hadn't even touched the damn thing. But that's all it took. I got grounded for 2 weeks. Tessa got a trip to Dairy Queen because the whole thing stressed her out. And that was just the start. They raised us side by side after my mom died. 2 bedrooms, same school, same chores. Except mine always doubled. I did dishes, cleaned bathrooms, mowed the lawn. Tessa had cramps or was too sensitive to be yelled at. When I cried, they told me to be strong. When she cried, she got comfort and a bowl of warm soup. By the time we hit high school, it was like she'd been wrapped in bubble wrap and I'd been handed a wrench. She had tutors, therapy, driving lessons, and her own debit card. I paid my own way. Babysitting, yard work, tutoring freshmen. I got into a decent community college down the road. Took the bus, she got into some private college in Oregon, and they practically threw her a parade. Bought her a used Honda Civic like it was a graduation gift from heaven. And when she dropped out a year later, she's just figuring things out. Meanwhile, I was stocking shelves during the day, taking night classes, and falling asleep on the bus home. She once cracked the screen on my laptop, my only laptop, the one I'd bought with 2 months of tips from the diner, and laughed, said, "You work all the time, you can afford another one." Didn't offer to pay for it. Didn't even say sorry. When I brought it up to Aunt Jill, she gave me this half smile and said, she didn't mean it like that. She's just under pressure. I started locking my room when I left for work, bought a fireproof box for my documents, changed my phone passcode every few weeks. I wasn't bitter, I just got smart. At least that's what I told myself. That I'd learned. But sitting in my car with $1,500 gone and that stupid "Congrats, Tessa" banner burned into my brain, it hit me hard. I'd never actually stopped them from taking. I just made it harder for them. And they just got sneakier. I pulled into an empty Walgreens parking lot and sat there in silence. Not crying, not even mad anymore. Just tired. I thought I was done being the one who kept everything afloat while she coasted. But the truth? I never stopped letting it happen. I didn't go home that night. I parked outside a gas station off Route 17 and just sat there, watching people come and go like I wasn't even real. Somewhere around midnight, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Aunt Jill. You embarrassed Tessa. You always make things about you, that was it. No happy birthday, no apology, not even a question about why I walked out without a word. Just that. And all I could think about was the last time I'd fallen for Tessa's tears. It was last year, spring, I think. She called sobbing so hard I could barely understand her, said she needed $2,000 for an emergency dental surgery, claimed she cracked a molar and couldn't eat or sleep, and had no one else to ask. I wired the money within the hour. No hesitation, no contract. Just done. Because that's what I always did. Cleaned up her mess without asking questions. 2 weeks later, she posted pictures from some bougie hot springs resort in Arizona. Full spa package. Massages, wine tastings, poolside selfies in a designer bikini. Smiling like she hadn't just begged me to bail her out of a medical emergency. I called her. She picked up on the second ring. "Are you serious right now?" I asked. She laughed like I was the one being ridiculous. I was emotionally overwhelmed. "That is health related." I didn't even respond. I just hung up. The next day, Aunt Jill left a voicemail. "She's doing her best. Don't make her feel worse." That was it. That was when I stopped being the soft landing. I opened new bank accounts, changed passwords, unlinked cards from every shared account, every app, every subscription. I even froze my credit for a while. But I missed one. The old credit card linked to our grocery app, the one we used when she was between jobs, and I covered the difference so we wouldn't run out of toothpaste or bread. That was the one they used for the party. Sitting in that parking lot, staring at the text on my screen, everything just clicked into place. It wasn't about money, not really. It was about being erased, over and over. My name never on the invite. My birthday hijacked. My card swiped like it was community property. They didn't even ask. I'd been walking around for years thinking I was protecting myself, putting up boundaries, guarding my time, cutting back on handouts. But all I'd really done was slow the leak. The hole was still wide open. Tessa didn't feel guilty because no one ever made her. And Aunt Jill? She saw my silence as compliance. She assumed I'd just swallow it again. Smile. Be the good one. The easy one. I sat there in my car and opened the banking app again. The charges stared back like bruises I didn't see coming. It wasn't just a cake and a few party hats. It was a full-blown event. A catered venue. Floral arrangements. Champagne on my dime. I could have screamed, but I didn't. I just shut off the engine and sat in silence, letting the truth settle deep in my chest. They were never going to stop, not unless I stopped them first. By the time I pulled into my driveway, my jaw hurt from clenching. I walked straight past the dishes in the sink, straight past the mail on the counter, and sat down at my laptop. If they were going to treat me like a joke, fine. But I was done playing the quiet idiot who always took the hit. I started digging. Receipts from the bakery, under my name, email confirmation for the event venue, sent to my inbox. The charge from the floral shop had my full billing information, all of it linked to the credit card they knew I hadn't used in months. I kept scrolling and found a detail that pushed it over the edge. The catering order? It was placed by Tessa, and she'd written a little note for the kitchen at the bottom. "Surprise party for me. Don't ruin the entrance, lol." I almost laughed. Then I found the text she sent me a few weeks back. I hadn't thought much about it at the time, but now it read like a confession. "You're cool with skipping a birthday party this year, right? I kinda wanna make my CPA party big lol." That was her asking. That was my silence being twisted into approval, and I was done letting her get away with it. No one thought I'd actually do anything. That was their mistake. 2 days later, I walked into the police precinct with a manila folder full of labeled tabs and a memory stick. I wasn't angry. I wasn't crying. I was just done. The front desk officer looked up from his screen. "Can I help you?" "I need to file a report for financial fraud," I said. He motioned me toward a booth in the back. Young guy, nervous hands, seemed chill until I said the word family. "Family, like biological?" he asked, flipping through my documents. "Yes," I said. "Raised together." Doesn't change what happened. He shifted in his chair like I'd handed him a live grenade. "You sure you want to file this?" "I wouldn't be here if I wasn't sure." He glanced at one of the receipts. "This looks solid. Still, just giving you a heads up, it can get messy." "I'm not here for revenge," I said. "Just protection." That shut him up. He took the report and said someone would be in touch soon. I thanked him and left. No drama, no scenes. Just peace. Cold, solid peace. 2 days later, Tessa texted me. "Hey, can you Venmo me for the Uber from our party? Thanks. I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I locked my phone and tossed it onto the coffee table. No response, no reaction. I didn't owe her a damn thing. The call came in at 6:41 a.m. No caller ID. I almost ignored it. Almost. Hello, I said, still half asleep, crying, sniffling. I knew the voice before she even said my name. They say I committed fraud. Tessa sobbed. Why would you do this to me? I sat up slowly, like my body already knew not to rush for her anymore. You stole from me. I didn't steal, her voice cracked. It was a joint party. Mom said it was fine. I didn't even blink. Did you admit you used my card? She went quiet for half a beat. Then, you never said I couldn't. There it was, the same script she'd used since we were kids. If I didn't say no loud enough, if I didn't scream it into her face with blood and teeth and lawyers, then clearly I was fine with it. You never asked, I said flatly. You're ruining my life, she shouted. I might lose my license. I might lose my job before I even start it. Actions have consequences, I said. I'm your sister. How could you? You're not my sister, I said, cutting her off. You're a grown woman who used my credit card without permission to throw herself a party and call it mine. There was silence on the other end, but it wasn't regret. It was calculation. She was trying to figure out what angle might still work. This could destroy everything I've worked for. I didn't respond. You want me to apologize? Fine, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't think you'd blow it up like this. There it was again. Not sorry for doing it. Sorry for getting caught. I hung up without another word. By noon, my phone was lit up like a Christmas tree. Aunt Jill texted 3 times in a row. She's in pieces. You really went too far. Family doesn't do this to each other. An hour later, Uncle Ray chimed in. This could ruin her career. You made your point. Let it go. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say, no fight to have, no tears to cry, just the quiet I'd earned, and I wasn't giving it up for anyone. She showed up the next morning, mascara already streaked like she'd prepped for the part. I heard the buzzer first, then the voice through the speaker, high and panicked. It's me. Please just let me in. I stared at the door, could have left her outside. Probably should have, but I pressed the button anyway. Call it closure or curiosity. She came up the stairs fast, heels clicking like gunshots, and when I opened the door, she practically collapsed against the frame. I'm begging you, she said, grabbing my arm. It's on my record now. I won't get the job. They already put me on hold while they investigate. You have to make it stop. I stayed where I was. No hug, no pity. You're not here to say sorry, I said. You're here because you got caught. No, I am sorry, she said, voice cracking again. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It's my career. I've worked so hard for this, I tilted my head. Are you sorry for what you did or just that you got caught? That was when it happened. Like a switch flipping, the tears dried right up. Her shoulders pulled back, her chin lifted, and then she sneered. You've always been jealous of me. I actually laughed, like real laughter. First one in weeks. She blinked at me, thrown off. You think I'm jealous of someone who can't go 6 months without conning her own family? I asked. Get real. You're bitter, she snapped. You've always been bitter. You were mad when I got the car, mad when I got into college, mad when mom and dad paid for things you couldn't afford. I paid for my life with my own money, I said. That's not bitterness. That's pride, she scoffed. You're selfish. You always make everything about you. One party and suddenly you're the victim? I didn't even flinch. At least I'm not a thief. Her mouth opened like she was about to spit fire, but I was already stepping back. She kept talking, voice rising, but I was done listening. I walked inside and closed the door slowly behind me. No slamming, no drama. Just done. She could rant to the hallway. I had peace to get back to. I didn't expect her to show up at my job. But there, Aunt Jill was, standing in the middle of the front lobby in full meltdown mode, voice rising, hands flying like she was auditioning for a soap opera. My coworker leaned over the front desk and gave me the universal, is this your mess? Look, I met her outside before she could say anything else. I cannot believe you're doing this, she hissed the second the door shut behind us. Tessa's life could be ruined. Do you even understand what's happening? You mean consequences? I asked. Yeah, I'm familiar. You're punishing her for being happy. That's all this is. Jealousy, resentment. You've always had this chip on your shoulder. You showed up at my job, Jill. She pulled back like I'd slapped her. Don't you dare speak to me that way. I crossed my arms. 2 years ago, when Uncle Ray got laid off, I paid your utilities for 2 winters straight, helped with the mortgage when your house was in pre-foreclosure. You thanked me once? Tessa never did, her jaw tightened. That was your choice, she said. We didn't force you. And this, I said, voice steady, is my choice too. She shook her head like I'd failed a test. We raised you better than this. No, you raised me to shut up and carry the load while Tessa danced through life like nothing ever stuck to her. She's fragile. She's manipulative. A guy walking past slowed down, like he was about to ask if everything was okay. I gave him a look that said, keep walking, and thankfully, he did. You think you're so cold and righteous now? She snapped. But you're going to regret this one day. I leaned in, calm as hell. No, I regret every year I let you all use me. This is the cleanest breath I've taken in my life. I turned and walked back inside without another word. She didn't follow. 2 hours later, my phone started pinging. Tessa had gone on a posting spree. Instagram stories, a Facebook post with vague sobbing about betrayal from the one person I thought was family, and a full carousel of black and white photos of her looking sad on the couch. The captions were dramatic. Half Bible verses, half Taylor Swift lyrics. But what really pissed me off? She tagged the entire extended family, cousins I hadn't talked to in years, old aunts who still sent Christmas cards, distant relatives from Florida and Minnesota I barely remembered meeting. DMs started rolling in. What's going on? Why is Tessa saying you ruined her life? Is this about money? Not one of them asked if I was okay. Not one said, what happened? It was all about her image, her pain, except for one. My cousin Bree, who'd always been sharp and low-key, messaged me directly. I know Tessa's full of shit. Don't throw them a life raft. Let them sink. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, I won't, because I meant it. 2 days after the Instagram meltdown, my boss called me into her office. I figured it was work-related, budgeting maybe. She pulled up an email on her screen and swiveled it toward me. Subject line, concern about Amanda's mental health. Urgent. Body. Hi, I'm Amanda's cousin. I don't know if you're aware, but she's been behaving erratically and might be having a breakdown. She's attacking family, making false accusations, and obsessing over things that never happened. Please keep an eye on her. I blinked. Then read it again. Tessa sent this, my boss said. I already blocked her email. Just wanted you to see it. I sat back in the chair, stunned but not surprised. Thanks for showing me. She's unhinged, my boss said. You're fine. I know who's who here. That was the thing. Tessa thought she could scare me into silence, thought she could blow up my life before I got the chance to blow up hers. But the investigation was already wrapping up. The officer called later that week with the update. We're offering her a diversion agreement, he said. Reimburse the money, do 50 hours of community service, and take a financial accountability class. And if she agrees, I asked, no conviction. Just a record of the agreement. If she finishes the terms, it stays off her record. Okay, he sighed. She refused it. I leaned against the kitchen counter. She what? She said it's humiliating, he said, tired. Didn't want it following her around. I told her, so is theft. She turned down the clean exit because her pride couldn't stomach the paperwork. That was Tessa in one sentence. And just like that, her job offer vanished. HR ran the background check, saw the pending fraud charge, and iced her out. They didn't even call her, just pulled the contract and moved on. The messages slowed. The family posts stopped. Aunt Jill must have told her to shut it down. But I knew what was happening behind the curtain. She was stuck at home. No job, no plan, no way forward. Scrambling, calling every contact. Running out of favors. And I didn't lift a damn finger. I didn't explain. Didn't apologize. Didn't offer help. Not this time. This time, I let the silence do the work. The calendar invite came on a Thursday. Subject line, family check-in. That alone made me want to throw my phone across the room. I didn't RSVP, didn't message. But when the screen lit up Saturday morning with the group video call, I joined. Mostly because I wanted to look them all in the face. Aunt Jill opened with her signature fake warmth. teeth bared like a sales pitch. "We just want to talk, sweetheart." Clear the air, Tessa was already on screen, sitting in her childhood bedroom. No makeup, hoodie, eyes puffy, but it felt more like costume than consequence. She looked straight at the camera and mumbled, "I'm sorry for using your card." I tilted my head. "You mean stealing it?" Silence. Dead, heavy silence. Uncle Ray shifted on his couch, arms crossed. "So now what? You cutting us off?" I leaned forward, voice steady. "I'm done pretending this is normal. No yelling, no breakdown, just truth." I clicked leave meeting without waiting for a reply. And that was it. 3 months passed, like air finally filling my lungs. Tessa took a job at a pet store across town, part-time, minimum wage. She posted once about her new chapter, then went dark. I packed up my apartment, sold my old couch, and left the state. Got a new job with a better title, new city, new number, no more drama sitting in my inbox. One night, just after unpacking the last box, a message came through. New number, no name attached. "Hope you're doing okay. I could really use someone to talk to." I stared at it for a long time. Then I turned off my phone and went to bed. I made a cup of peppermint tea and stepped out onto my balcony. It was just after 10. Quiet, the sky clear. Streetlights blinking soft yellow against the dark. I slid into the old chair I'd dragged from my last apartment, pulled a blanket over my legs, and opened my phone. Not for calls, just to look. The folder I'd kept everything in, screenshots, receipts, the event invoices with my name on them, it was still there. Not because I needed proof anymore, just because I wasn't ready to delete it yet. I scrolled through the texts. The ones where Tessa guilt-tripped me into paying rent. The one where she told me to skip my birthday that year because she needed the attention. And the message from Aunt Jill, still sitting unread. "You didn't have to be cruel." I didn't feel proud or vindicated. I felt free. I thought about all the birthdays I spent alone while they celebrated her smallest achievements like holidays. The money they borrowed, then forgot. The laptop, the groceries, the fake apologies, the way I was always the selfish one for having limits. Now, I had peace. No buzzing phone, no guilt texts, no one leaking their drama into my life like it was my job to absorb it. Sometimes, yeah, the guilt crept in. Quiet, like a whisper in the back of my mind saying maybe I should have let it go. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe family's supposed to forgive, no matter what. But then I remembered. Letting it go was exactly how they kept doing it. I took a sip of tea, warm and clean, and looked out at the skyline, little blinking lights in the distance, cars moving slow on the highway. Somewhere out there, Tessa was probably typing another message, another cry for help dressed up like a guilt trip. But I wasn't reading it. I didn't respond. Some pieces worth keeping.